Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the Black Desert Mobile World Championship for Ramoness once again. It is the last day of 3. We're going to the third region of the 3. It is Europe that we are going to be doing today. I'm Valdez. With me is Joel. Sophie, of course, as always, here on the cast. How do you feel about today, Joel?
Well, it's been 2 days that we've seen so far for the Ramoness tournament. The first day, America, very exciting as we remember, a lot of memorable moments, and we thought that we would get exactly the same thing for Asia. A lot of fierce full competition, a lot of competitiveness going all the way through. But it turned out to be very one-sided from the beginning all the way to the end. 4-1 was the closest matchup we got all day long yesterday, and hey, that could be a little disappointment in some way, but also shows that the kind of disparity that we have in terms of the teams has been very outmatched in some of the regions out there. So for Europe, is it going to be one of those American days? Is it going to be one of those Asian days? We have to wait to find out.
Yeah, I think we're both expecting it to be a bit closer today, kind of like the first day where we did have the America region, as that is what we are expecting at least, but we'll have to wait and see how it actually does pan out here. As today, guys, what the players will be fighting over, of course, the tournament prizes. The champion, 20,000 pearls each for each player. They get that Ramoness champion title and then the limited pet, which is obviously the best out of the 3. And everybody else that is here, even up to 8th place. So some people, 4 teams that even are not playing today, did earn some of those prizes that you can see down below.
Yeah, the title will be limited in terms of what uniqueness you will get in terms of the actual titles themselves. The Ramoness champion title will be going to the first place team, the 3 players to themselves. So as we mentioned, it's for America and also for Asia. Same thing for Europe. We will have 3 people that are just uniquely able to hold that title to themselves, and which of these 4 teams will do it, we're going to have to find out.
Yeah, so you guys can check out the teams here. Again, they don't exactly have team names. They're just going off of where they were in the bracket, but we're not going to call them based on the, Europe 28 or anything like that. Usually we'll call them red team or blue team, or we'll call them, MLBB's team or something like that. Usually we were going off of the highest CP.
Yep.
Especially because in the first couple of days, a lot of the highest CP players were the key players, but that's not the case at all for today, where all 4 teams, they have 4 different key players from the highest CP players on the team.
Yeah, these are some of the kind of the predicaments as to how we can expect some of the exciting matches that will be coming in from Europe because of that same reason that you mentioned, Valdez, because we do have the high CP players mentioned in the crown as the indicator right beside their name. You see MLBB, you see Murmiao, you also see Bullock, and also see Eleutherio for Europe 64. But at the same time, the key performance, as you were talking about, they were a little bit not really affected by the CP that they had, and it's really about them really understanding the ins and outs of this mode of Ramoness and understanding how to play it, and that's what really allowed them to play exactly how they did. And I think this is going to be just the same today for a lot of exciting things to happen in the European side of things to see how the matches will fall down.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun to check it out. Of course, we are going to take a look at a deeper look into all of the teams that are playing today from Velia, the third highest CP ranking out of all 4 teams. But you'll notice that they did go 10-1 so far, so they've only dropped 1 game, and that was early on. Ever since then, it's been a clean slate over here, and they have Pulsefire on a Raven, which is not something you see very often here in the champion of the Ramoness.
Yeah, having the Raven is a very fine thing to do, but at the same time, to perform it as he has been doing is going to be something that's really going to keep our heads on high, because we don't have a lot of Ravens in the tournament to start off with, but to have some of the Ravens that's in the tournament that's really hasn't been performing that well. And when we talk about the actual win rate of what the Ravens have been doing, it's going to be really important to kind of understand that the Pulsefire is going to be one of the key factors to see whether they're going to win this game today.
Yeah, definitely pretty interesting to see that kind of composition. And they're going up against a composition that might ruffle some feathers if you are one of the guys that are in the chat and you're saying, oh my god, Huntress is so OP. How did they let this into the game? Well, there's going to be 2 of them here, and they're alongside the Paladin, which is another class that does get a lot of mentions, of course, in the chat and online and all that good stuff. So a pretty, I suppose you can say, standard if you want to go for the quote-unquote most OP composition that you can. They have gone for it here. So will be interesting to see how the 2 compositions match up in this one.
A very strong composition with the 2 Huntresses and also with the Paladin. It makes a lot of sense. One's going to be setting up and the other 2 is going to be putting in the damage. That makes a lot of sense for how you're going to be running through the game. And that makes it somewhat easy for the other team to really figure out what their main target is going to be. Shut down the Paladin early, as we saw from the Asian matches, and that's what really got them the success last time around. They need to do exactly the same, and they should have a lot of success.
Yeah, so guys, it looks like we're already ready to jump into the first game here for the European region of the Ramoness Championship. So let's jump into that game 1 right now. Oh, and we've already started up here as a couple of key players going head-to-head. Pulsefire against Smithy will be a couple of key guys to watch out for.
We're losing a lot of HP, though.
Yeah, trying to skate around, but he's just being pummeled up against that wall, and he will be the first casualty of the tournament.
Yeah, MLBB with the Paladin taking that first kill is going to be important. Just make sure he keeps that point. You see that Murmeow is going to go heavy on trying to put the damage in. It's basically a 1-to-1 scenario that we see right at the moment, but Murmeow unable to finish that. That's going to mean MLBB be able to run away with it and try to find some heals to get back to safety. And we'll see what happens now, because the statue, once again, not a big factor in this early game. And we'll see what the blue team can do with the first pick of the points.
MLBB, all decked out in red clothing, was able to actually dunk on Murmeow there and have a pretty nice one-on-one that ended up in the middle here. As, wow, that was a lot of damage coming
Smitty
out from the 2 Huntresses. Just like, hello, we're here, we knocked you down, you're dead.
And we know that Smitty and Bonus likes to go together and transition and understand that putting the double damage as the Huntresses is really effective. It is a risky play that when both Huntresses do get caught out, it becomes a dangerous situation for Smitty and Bonus traveling together. And that means the Paladin with Murmeow has to be extra careful to understand his positioning to make sure he's in that right position to protect his 2 Huntresses so they can be as effective as they can.
Oh, Zekin going to be hunted down there around the side. Lagos, our first one of the European region, is going to spawn up here. We'll see, how the strategies do differ. We talked about this yesterday. The Asian teams not really liking to go for the Lagos. The American teams did favor that objective a lot more comparatively. But so far, as you guys can see, it is a bit favored towards the red team's side. Smithy up on top there with the most points so far, but taking a bit of damage as a team is that red side.
Yeah, you can see that Smitty's team is doing a good job of controlling the area around the Lagos, getting a lot of kills around the area to make sure that none of the blue side can even come close to the objective. But Bonus barely able to survive there and to heal a little bit back with that damage, but it's not going to be good enough for now, as MLBB does get a little bit of kill, but can he get out of it is going to be the question.
Yeah, that is the question, but the answer will be no, as the 2 of them are able to take him out there.
Yeah, and Smithy, and quietly and softly, he's been getting a lot of points to himself. 30 points on top for the red team. And he has to be the main target, but none of the blue side is really looking to him to get a lot of points. Just kill him and you get a lot of points back. Should be a high priority here.
Yeah, you can see they're trying to now, but it might just be a little bit too late, as it's only MLBB here on the side. That 3 of them are just going 3v1 as Zekin is over there hitting the Lagos, but there's only 30 seconds left. There's no guarantee that you're going to get that last hit, so you got to be careful. If you are the blue team, maybe a little bit of panic coming in here.
Yeah, and this is some of the things that really does happen in the semifinals, where you've been just kind of racking up from the round of 64 or the round of 32.
Lagos is going to go down, and it will go to the side of the red team, so the domination will continue here, at least in the first game of this European semifinals. As Smithy, 38 points. He's having some fun. It looks like Bonus was able to pick up the Lagos, but that's it. GG for the first match that we do have for this first best of 5. So Smithy there feels like he was doing a good job alongside Bonus, just able to carry that one a little bit.
Yeah, as he's been doing well throughout the tournament, Smithy has once again been the key player. He understands the game very, very well. He doesn't have the highest CP. The last time I checked, he doesn't have the highest CP within his team, but even with that, he is still the key performer, always coming top in terms of points, and that's what's become very important in terms of how this team has been so successful so far getting to the semifinals. But on the other hand, we have to talk a little bit about the blue team of what they've been doing wrong. Coming from the round of 64 all the way to the semifinals where they are now, they did face relatively weaker opponents to get here. But with that, the strategies do need to change, because the reason why you have a Paladin going 1-3 against an entire red side with 2 Huntresses on the lineup, it has to be a little bit of a different thought point of it, exactly how that can work out calculatively. You're going to have to expect that the higher opponents and the stronger opponents are already in with you in the semifinals, which means you have to be a little bit more decisive as to how careful, but also how decisive you can be in terms of how much you're going to rush into the attack.
Yeah, definitely it looked like a little bit of panic there on the side of the blue team, but either way, we'll see if they can shore that up as we are ready to jump into game number 2 right now. All loaded up here, and the double Huntress and Paladin, that team ended up on top. I do have to say, when the 2 Huntresses work together and focus one target, you can do some pretty insane damage, and that's how they're going to try to start it off here. Hide in the brush and target down Zekin, and it's going really well so far, as Pulsefire not really able to help out there in the back line. You can see Mermiao now trying to chase down that target.
And you can see that Pulsefire MLBB is separated away from Zekin. This is the reason why he's going to die. He can't run away forever doing this. And really gonna travel together if you are the side of the blue, and MLBB, Pulsefire, and Zekin traveling all together will be a powerhouse, and you can do a lot of AoE damage, especially against the Huntresses that will be together in collision. And this is a strategy that hasn't been really unfolded so far for the blue side. You can see that MLBB and Zekin now are a little bit together, but on the other side, Pulsefire was a little bit distance away from everybody else. And this is going to be the reason why blue side has been struggling to get those kills where it is needed. You can see that both the Huntresses are pretty low in the HP on the red side, but still aren't going to go down. Means that they're needing that little bit of oomph in terms of damage, in terms of the attacks going through.
Yeah, you could just see MLBB just chasing them down all alone, as it looks like the other 2 members were suffering a bit, but now this is their moment. MLBB able to pick up that first kill.
Smithy, very good.
Trading it back.
You can see that MLBB is really going for bonus, but Smithy was on much lower HP, but also with the higher points. And MLB does have a higher point stack to begin with, but now needs some reinforcement from coming through from the blue side. Nobody to be seen nearby Valdez.
Oh, they got Smithy though. Smithy is going to go down, and now we do have the blue team slightly in the lead, just by 1 point, as the Lagos is going to come up, and it really is anyone's game from this point on.
Yeah. Still looking at that 2-to-1 split at the moment for the blue side. Will this work out? MLBB has been on fire in terms of what he needs to do. He needs to be the carry for at the moment, but at the same time, Pulsefire, with the player that we've been highlighting when we were doing the player introduction, hasn't been doing too much for this team.
Oh boy.
Do need a lot more from him to really contribute.
Yeah, he's going to get frozen up and just pummeled down by Smithy. That was pretty much straight up one-on-one. Of course, the freeze orb helped out a lot there, but another kill going to go the way of Smithy. This guy putting on the carry pants tonight.
Yeah, we're going to see the third member come right back up with Zekin. They have to get close. Lagos really isn't the story here with 1 minute left to go. Pulsefire all alone. These are the scenarios that really need to avoid here. Just going to have to be all a little bit together to make sure they can avoid the damage to do a bit of the counter attack against the two Huntresses. These are the winning formulas to win against this team, but being separated this over and over again, eventually we'll lose the point slowly that way.
Yeah, and you can tell it's another Lagos play, but it will go the way of the red team. I think maybe Zekin was in there alone just getting some hits down, but you're never going to really be able to last hit it there consistently and win from there. And you could see that Mermiao was able to pick up the majority of the kills, up to 49 here, or the points, I should say, not necessarily the kills. He's going to pick up all the other objectives around on the map, and it was just we've seen this play before where a team gets behind and they're like, oh, I guess we just got to go for the Lagos. And once again, twice in a row, it is not going to work out. So Mermiao will pick up the MVP of the match with the most points. But yeah, it feels like they're really struggling with that Huntress damage.
It's just the chase and run strategy we saw from the Asia matchup yesterday with BBDR's team, just catching one at a time, 3v1 every scenario. So if you kind of figure out that was the strategy of your opponents coming in, that means if you're on the blue side, you have to have all three put together to put the defensive reinforcements in first, but then to come back with a counterattack is going to be very important because you gotta have to target back to the Hunters, especially with the Paladin getting so much attention down the red side. That means all the way through, it has to be the blue team kind of sticking together, as I keep really emphasizing over and over again. We have to see in this game 3.
Yeah, so guys, it looks like we're ready to jump into that game number 3, so let's go into that right now. Yep, going in once again here. We'll see if the blue team has better chance. Pulsefire trying to do his best on the Raven to carry this one, but so far hasn't really worked out for him in this best of 5.
Yeah, we've talked about the record line of what the tournament has looked like for both of these teams, and both teams came in with only one loss, one game loss, all the way up to the semifinals as we are here at the moment. But already, Pulsefire's team has lost more games than they've lost through the entire tournament so far, losing 2 already. And this is not the team that really struggled in these moments, and they've shown good moments for how they want to work around with the Raven and how to make that work efficiently. But we're going to have to see something big from this Lightning right now, because this might be a good starter for this early game to really kick off for them.
Yeah, he's going after, well, looks like he was going for bonus.
A little bit indecisive there.
Yeah, it was a good split, I suppose, from the 2 members of the red team that were able to get away from that one. And as we have mentioned, it's isolation after isolation. They're going to catch Pulsefire now, all by his lonesome. And it's like there are 3 hunters, literally Huntresses, with the Paladin, of course, to lead the charge. They're going to find Pulsefire here, but he's doing a decent job trying to get on top of Smithy here. Not quite able to kill him down, though. Yeah, and that just like that, Pulsefire, a little bit of a head-first move. Not really able to get the kill, though.
Yeah, you got to give it off to the 2 Huntresses. They're hiding and positioning themselves very well to get another kill now, but it really is the problem of the blue side when they're really having one player at a time getting caught up. Means that the communication just really isn't there thoroughly for them, and that means that MLBB being right here away from Pulsefire, and who knows where Zekin is at the moment. It's really hard to have all 3 players in the same camera because of the fact that they're so distanced from each other, and this has been that one very primitive problem they haven't been able to overcome. It is still in this game 3.
You see the Lagos being chipped down once again by the side of Zekin and Pulsefire. Looks like they're kind of on Lagos killing duty, but a lot of them being zoned out here. And actually, it is going to go their way. They get that one, and they get a bunch of kills on top of it, as Mermiao is going to survive, but just barely so. Being chased down as we speak.
So low, and you know you got opponents very nearby. You can hide in the bush for now, but you're going to have to look for that salvation coming through. Smithy's walking up to try to get to you.
Yeah, it's a lot of time still left. We'll see if Smithy's team can try to get this one back. They're going to kill Zekin, but he doesn't have the points, really. They need to kill Pulsefire. That's the main target.
Oh, but Bonus going down, about to.
Yeah, should go down here, so some extra points will go the way of Blue. And they're doing a good job of protecting, actually, Pulsefire. As I say that, he dies.
Oh, my. Where'd
oh,
that come
man,
from?
the caster curse comes in, and just the sheer ability coming out of Smithy. He's going to pick up more and more kills.
And is that it? Just 53 points onto Smithy. Well, is that going to be enough for this 20 seconds of gameplay? Not enough to take Smithy down.
Yeah, and oh, man. It feels like the snowball has once again gone the way of Smithy, Mermau, and Bonus here on the red side team, and we will have once again another 3-0 in the semifinals. GG. We'll have Smithy and his boys moving up to that final matchup that will be coming at the end of today. Unfortunately, the other team there with MLBB not quite able to reach the same level as the enemy team.
Yeah, I would have to say they were on the kind of the brink of figuring out exactly what their strategy had to be, or they were just a little bit stubborn of keeping with that initial plan A and never really having that plan B in case it didn't work out. And plan A definitely didn't work out because of just a lot amount of CP that was there on the other side. Smithy, as you can see, a lot of damage coming through, and Bonus helping out with that damage. But even with the Paladin just kind of setting things up, he never really had trouble setting things up for his team, and that meant that the focusing really wasn't there for any specific player. The damage was coming back and forth, and the HP was going down slowly by bit, but never really down to 0 is the reason why the points were never going to the blue side.
Yeah, I was just surprised that Pulsefire, you know, he was doing a good job of hiding, and even his teammates were protecting him, and then all of a sudden, he went for a bit of help on the last hit onto Bonus, I think it was. And then in that moment, they spotted him, and then they were like, oh, we know where he is, and they killed him in like 2 seconds. As I'm saying, oh, they can't find him. He looks like he's going to be, you know, he's going to be safe. That's exactly what did not happen. So pretty interesting stuff there that it does go to, once again, a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it to be a 3-0 this time around. We knew Smithy's team was talented, but actually at the same time, Pulsefire teams came in with only 1 loss of a record throughout the entire tournament. So you would have thought that this would have been a very fierce competition, but all the way through the first game as a quick finish, but as quick of a finish as it is, we'll get the first coupon code out the way. So if you're already in-game watching this at the same time, be sure to type that in and get your freebies right there.
Yeah, so we are going to go to the break. Again, we're going to put that coupon code up there during the break as we have in the past. So make sure you guys are paying attention. But for now, we're going to go to that 10-minute break before the second semifinals. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, guys. We are here for more of the Ramoness Championship for the European region. I'm Valdez with you, Joel Sophie, as we have been for the last 3 days. And first matchup again, 3-0. Very, very one-sided. Smithy's team looked really strong.
They picked the plan, and it worked for all 3 games. They didn't need to go to their plan B. They didn't need to switch things up. It just literally needs to be Paladin set things up, double Huntresses in the back, do all the damage, and that becomes your victory in the end. And that's what it came to be with all 3 games.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. Really quick victories, even the comeback victory in game number 3, where the Lagos did go the way of Pulsefire's team, but didn't end up really panning out for them in the end, as they got chomped down. Pulsefire himself with over 50 points. But that was the last matchup. We're getting into the second one here, as you can see on the right. Dima, the key player of the first team, and then, of course, Fillion will be the key player of the second team, going head-to-head. Some names you'll probably recognize on this side of the bracket as well.
Yeah, coming from the Velia side once again, Electra, Dima, and Bolik is going to be the representatives for the left side, and we'll get our first non-Valiant participants for the European semifinals this time around, and that will come a little bit later. But as in terms of CP ranking, they are at number 4 at the moment with 10-3, a little bit shaky. They did not really have a perfect win. The only time they did was around the 32, but around the 64, around the 16, all the way to the quarterfinals to get to here. They did lose a match to get to where they are right now. 77% win rate isn't the highest in terms of all the European scoreline, and being the number 4 CP ranking, it really has multiple things going against them, and it really would say they are the underdogs to really win the championship today, especially against a very strong team that you will see on the other side. They're going to be very, very strong opponents they have to face against here.
Absolutely. Well, they did bring a couple of Huntresses there, but we see a totally big mix-up here, as there are no Huntresses on this team. They do have the highest CP ranking. You will notice there on the right, they're 6-1. They dropped the 1 game from the quarterfinals, but outside of that, they've been pretty clean in the matches that they have played. From Bolanos, it is 1 Raven, 2 Paladins. Pretty interesting composition here, Joel.
Well, aside from the composition, we know that these 3 are the top rankers in Bolanos, and you'll see their name in the send praise page every time I go into the login screen. We are on the Bolanos, and we see their names every single day. And at the moment of the kind of looking at the numbers, Eleutherio was the highest in CP, but Civilian has been the most consistent performer overall and has been very reliant on that Raven. And we saw that another Raven case with the Pulsefire has been very good throughout the tournament, but really didn't participate too much in the semifinals for today's specific match. Will that be the story once again for the Bolanos side? Because it has to be Civilian once again with the Raven doing his goods in order for his team to find a lot of success. Even if it's against a number 4 CP team, they still need to do what it takes to get the victory.
Yeah. Definitely need to prove themselves here, as it looks like we're ready, guys. So we're going to hop straight in to game number 1 right now. And here we do go back into the Ramoness, starting things off here. Always interesting to see, the different strategies that teams do like to play it out. Do they like to just run at each other or come in from behind?
Word.
And, well,
someone just disappeared.
Yeah, the blue team was extremely split up. I mean,
Yeah.
Dima is all by himself in a brush.
It really
trying
seems
to
like
hide out.
it's a deja vu from what we just saw in the previous semifinals. Just a run and chase strategy that seemed very successful, especially with the higher CP teams out there. And on the chase, you got double Paladins, pretty much can guarantee CC any moment of the day, and Civilian put in the damage on the 4th, and that will get him a lot of points, already being on top with 15 at the moment, and he can get a lot more as long as he can get the other 2 Paladins to really press forward.
Yeah, we were talking about strategy here, and it seems like there's an obvious difference between the 2 teams and the way they want to pilot this. You just take a look at Dima.
He's just there.
He's there, and it's not like he's AFK or something. He's purposely trying to get orbs and objectives by himself on the side.
Really tough to tell what the strategy is for the Dima side, just being alone like that. It's not like if he sees 3 Bolanos rankers right in front of him that he can do anything about it by himself. I really wonder what's going through their minds in terms of setting up the strategy. Are they just trying to figure stuff out for this first game to see what they can do for the rest of the series? But it seems like for now, everything they've been doing has been really a miss for everything they've seen.
Yeah, it's obvious that they have a very passive play style. I mean, we take another look here at Dima. He's playing the orb game. Okay, at least they're catching, or they're at the same amount of orbs, you can say, of the enemy team, even though technically they are behind. Another kill is going to go the way here of Eletherial. It's a hard name to pronounce
It
there.
is.
But pretty cool one at that.
But we are seeing the Lagos come through. If the neutral has been the objective for the blue team, are they going to go for this one as well? But you know you just can't camp around to see for the last two. You're going to have to find your way through it.
Well, it does look like the strategy is to just go in there and do damage to the Lagos here. As Electra on the left side, but red team here.
Yeah, they seem pretty interested.
Yeah, they're also chipping away at that objective, but you got to be careful. I mean, there's only a minute left.
Okay,
and
the 3 guys coming
let's
through.
see how this last hit is going to come down. They're trying to zone away Electra now, just CCing him to death.
Yeah, right around that 3-bar line.
Though. We
has to
see
be Dima.
Dima looking for that last hit. He is going to pick it up, but is it going to matter? The lightning comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And is going to pick up 1 kill, make
Civilian.
that a little bit more damage onto Civilian. He's on the run.
Oh, and even with the salvation coming through for Electra, that's actually very crucial. Dima getting that last hit and getting that lightning, but also having that teammate come up with the salvation to get him back to full health. He was basically on 2 HP when we were starting this interaction altogether, but now at 49 points, all by himself.
Yeah.
He needs to do a lot of running, boy, and you have to really get away from all the tracks coming forward, and the other reinforcement has to come in to make sure the distraction is there.
And I mean, he's been practicing
the
this strategy
again.
the whole time, but is it gonna... Oh, they actually find him! But
the
he is going to get
salvation.
away. Yeah, salvation, pretty good buff for your team, and that is going to bring them over the line as Dima will secure his 49 points.
All right.
That will be enough for them to win the game, so... As we were talking about, that's not your... We've seen so many games where the teams just run straight at the other team and try to pick off one player or just go 3-on-3. That was just like a very calculated, passive strategy from the side of Dima.
And if you think you are that number 4 CP team and you know you're not going to really touch any of the number 1 CP team, don't go for the player. Just go for all the relics that are existent in the map and just go for all those little points. And they do add up like those pennies. And when it comes to Lagos, getting that last hit with Dima and also getting that tiny salvation buff was so crucial in the way that they survived all the way to the end. 50-something points at the end for Dima. That's really crucial to get that first victory.
Yeah, so really interesting stuff. Definitely not what we were expecting from that game number 1, but this is what we were talking about. It's not always about the CP if the number 4 can defeat the number 1 when it does come to the semifinals. So looks like we're ready to jump into game 2. Let's see how the strategies change in this next game. And here we go, back into the game. He's found a spot. He's found his little bush there on the side. That's
He definitely knew what he was doing. We were the only ones confused, but he was not confused for one bit.
He was, he's very patiently meditating in the brush.
Just waiting for that relic. That's really all he's doing. That 2 points, that 3 points, every time he comes, there's that 1 point. I mean, he's going to take it, and he's getting that 11 points at the moment, and he's going to go find another bush and get that amplification, and he does get it, and now he's at 12.
Yeah, and, he's really good at running away at the same time. It's not even an insult. I'm just saying, like, he's actually quite good at playing the kind of, the cat and mouse game. He's the mouse, he's running away. And he's gonna run away with the cheese at this rate.
And all the way through, the red team looks now sort of confused as to what their moves should be. They're not even fighting against the enemies. What are they doing? Obviously, the red team should feast off of the players, not really off of the relic. With their high minus AP, they really should take advantage of that situation, but not really presenting themselves to the fight is the blue team at the moment. Now that proposes a little bit of a question towards the red team of what are we actually supposed to do? Are we going to actually pick off really low point players? But Dima's right there, just running around.
They're getting frustrated. They're trying to corner him.
There
Look at
he
this
is.
cornering strat. It's not, okay, they are going to lock him down for now.
But it's only 15 points, though.
And perhaps that is enough. Okay, so they get the kill. The other members, the allies of Dima, were able to kind of skirt around, pick up a couple of orbs here and there. But certainly another lead pretty decent here. 21 points ahead for the side of the red team again, but will come down to the Lagos.
Good salvation onto Bolick. You can see that Dima just knows exactly what to do with all the little bugs because they do have full control over the relics because it's not really in the high priorities of the red side. That means all the relics that are needed in the precise timing, as we've seen in Game 1, can be replicated once again in Game 2. Can they do it once again without Lagos? Because Lagos is something that is the key factor in them winning the game.
Yeah.
In Game 1, they wouldn't have won without Lagos.
I mean, they're pretty good at last hitting, as we have seen. Their last hitting on the objectives was good. But a mistake, I think, before Ethereal's team really knew what was going on, was they were also hitting Lagos. They were getting him low, so they offered an opportunity for the blue team to try to get the last hit. But they are not.
Electra, are you going to get away from that?
They're not doing it this time. Electra, extremely low.
Oh, and he gets away from it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, able to help do a bit of damage here, but is going to be taken out eventually at the end alongside Dima.
Crucial by Threkside just to get away from all of that with very low HP. Gets the healing back with a little bit of relic, but still the Lagos is going to be left alone very smartly this time around. Now that Dima and Bolick are going to be going pretty aggressively, this is a chance for the red team to really feast on their players.
And that's exactly what they're doing, coming from 3 different sides, trying to just zone them away, do that damage, but Bolick and Electra able to skirt around and still do enough, but
very nice.
Is there enough Lagos points to come back here is another question. Salvation onto Civilian, and will we have that last hit
once again
onto this one? It is going to go down, but this time
Eleutherial.
Yeah, Eleutherial is able to last hit that one, so it does go their way, and they just finish off the entire team just for, some style points there at the end, and so we do have our first close matchup, at least for now, 1-1. For both sides.
Yeah, I would have to say for the blue side, just trying to get that victory off of Lagos, maybe that is the only option that they had. I'm not really faulting them for it because Game 1 looks spectacular in the way they set that up. But in Game 2, without Lagos, they're just not going to win the game. Now, what does that bring up to Game 3? Makes the strategy so much easier on the red side. All you have to do is get those chip points off of the players because they're not going to have much. All they're going to be feeding off of is relics. That means you just feed off the players in their early game. When you get to Lagos, just make sure to protect the area, and if the enemy goes hard on it, all you have to do is just kill them all and feast.
Yeah, I really do feel like the red team that time around did have the perfect strategy to answer. So it only took one game for them to kind of study and download their opponent. We'll see how they can do jumping into the third game right away. Not wasting any time with this one. Dima, he's found his brush. Just smelling the flowers over there.
But Electra doesn't get to smell any flowers this time around, as he does die out. Bolick,
you could see
he's just right there.
Yeah, they just find the most random brushes, and then they say, we want to get the orbs. Although this time around, they're going to fail in getting any orbs, so yeah, all 4 go the way of the red team here.
Yeah, Threkside getting that lightning, stealing it away from them, maybe just taking that strategy and making it theirs is going to be the red side this time around, because all the way through, we're looking at the blue side, and the strategy is quite clear. Just go for the relic, get those 1 point, get those 2 points. All you need to chip away and try to build up a momentum going to Lagos. But now when you take that strategy away from them, it's the red side. You go for the relics yourself, but obviously you have the better lasted opportunity because of the higher damage that you innately do have. This is going to make it so much easier now to operate this. I don't see a Game 3 loss for the red side unless they just miraculously lose Lagos once again.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to let that really happen here, as the Balenos team has just been hunting them down. Okay, the freeze is going to come into effect there. They should be able to pick up Eleutherial, but
so low.
It's not quite the case. He's actually going to survive, and you have to wonder, Dima actually could have really helped out in trying to finish off one of those members, but he's literally just hiding in the brush saying, that's all I want to do.
Yeah, that's what it is, because it's a little bit unfortunate to see that you need some flexibility in your team if you want to have a lot of success, but just going with one plan, beginning with it, never being able to shift away from that plan once the opportunity is given to them. Like you said, Valdez, just that one reinforcement would have been enough to get that sure kill onto the red side, but it just didn't come forward. They're still looking for that relic, not even looking around to what's happening around with your teammates. This is going to be a situation where it's going to be so easy to finish this game off because Electra's so low, no reinforcement by him, and that's going to be free kills going back and back again.
Yeah, does feel kind of free as Dima, it seems like he's getting hit by the lightning over there. Actually couldn't see that in the observer mode, but either way, was wondering how he was going to get burst down that much when there were no players over there, but actually there was one in the lightning. So a huge gap already, 55 points in favor of the red team right now. And once again, will be that desperate rush at the Lagos. Let's see if they got what it takes to go for the last hit. It's really the question here. Bolek, he's on the side trying to go for it, but no, it is going to go the way of it. Eletherial here is going to pick up that kill onto the big time objective as, man, they are over 80 points ahead, and they are only extending the lead from there.
Yeah, just virtually impossible from here for the blue side to get anything off. I mean, Relic is not going to get you 80 points. Definitely, we know that part for sure, but they have to get some kills, but to get a kill against any of these three players is something of a miraculous story to come forward. Just one hit like that just destroys the head of the opponents.
Yeah, I do feel like Dima and his team have kind of said, okay, we can't really fight straight up, so let's try to go for a bit of an unorthodox strategy. Looks pretty decent in game number 1, but as you said, it kind of does bank on getting the last hit on the Lagos and not getting too far behind. But I think, you know, the mode, at least in that spot, is balanced enough to say, like, you can't just run away from the opponent the entire time and win. And we have seen that in the games 2 and 3.
But it's important to know that, you know, when you have a weaker opponent coming through and you have formulated a very interesting strategy to go up against it, and you do surprise the opponent and catch them off guard to win that game 1, as we saw in the first game, you have to be a little more creative to come with plan Bs and plan Cs. Once the opponents have figured out your unorthodox strategy, you need to bring a new strategy to make sure they're always caught off guard to try to win some really interesting matches that we've seen in game 1, but just repetitive over and over into game 2 and 3 is not going to bring the goods every single time.
Yeah, so we'll see if they decide to change anything up, as it might just be a 3-1 here. Eletherial's team looking pretty strong going into this game number 4 that's going to start right now. Here we do go as Dima, okay, he's found a new brush. Well, we'll give him that. Electra is kind of the guy that distracts the enemy team and runs around and tries to run away. The Huntress, yeah.
That's a free bit of points, I would have to say, and the statue not even touched. And if it's going to be exactly the same of what we've seen in games 2 and 3 from the blue side, it's quite easy to win the game. All you have to do is just kind of wait for Lagos to hit and just really wait for the region to be completely collapsed in by the red side to gain full control of the area mass. And then it becomes really easy from there. Lagos doesn't die, and that means all the way through, the red side just has full control because nobody can come in to try to go for the damage there. And Bolek, he's not even fighting. He's just running away.
Oh, it looked like they were fighting there, but I think actually they were just going for an orb. So I got a little bit excited. I'm like, oh, there's a red member, and 2 blue members are trying to attack him, but actually no. It was an objective.
I wonder if that game 1 seemed like that, a little bit of the psychology of getting a lottery almost. Like, you get it once, you get that win once, and you would think you could just do exactly the same thing that you did in game 1, and it might just work again as it did in game 1. Is that the mindset that these blue team that has at the moment? Because if that's the case, you've already been figured out. You've been figured out since game 2.
Yeah, it does feel that way. But it feels like they've almost just decided, like, this is the only possible way we can win, so let's just do our best in the strategy, even if it didn't look so great in games 2 and 3. Raxai actually getting knocked down there. Dima being a bit annoying, but Raxai easily going to be able to respond to that one. As, yeah, just more objectives, even the statue going the way of red team. And that will be 3 kills in a row. Not sure how they got Dima. But he's just he's chilling in that brush. I feel like they should know even what brush
They're
he's
gonna
going
find
to be
it. I mean, there aren't many brushes in this entire Ramoness field. Check one by one. You'll eventually find Dima unless the animal just screeches out the bush, and you'll see that now that Dima has to go for some type of priority because the red side are not interested at all in terms of Lagos hitting, but And it's going to be the blue side has to go for a miracle, otherwise they're going to go to the third place match with the Balenos team favorites to go to the championship. They will, looking like they will go to the finals very, very soon here about this.
Yeah, it does feel that way. We'll see if they can close out game number 4 here with a 3-1 victory, or if we will see that comeback onto the Lagos. I feel like the Lightning after the Lagos is equally as important as getting all the points.
Well, decent chance here for
See
Tima.
if they can get it. No, the last hit, Eleutherial again. That guy knows, and it almost feels like they were caught off guard in game 1, and then after that, Eleutherial was like, nah, I'm going to be able to last hit this a little bit better than you. So.
Yeah, and it's good that they didn't really get phased off from losing game 1 as kind of the upset that we didn't expect. Coming into game 2, game 3, very, very strong, especially with Eleutherial's last hit focus to make sure he gets that last bit of hits. It's going to be very, very important for them to carry them through. And this is just a very good plays overall from Eleutherial and the rest of the sides here. They know the formula and figured it out ever since that game 1 ended. Games 2, 3, 4, just reflect that back in their own way and just get the victory easily. That win 3-1 became an inevitable scoreline.
Absolutely. So 3-1 does end up that way, but it does mean that we will have a pretty fun final. After all, the Balenos representative will join into the finals with Eleutherial's team able to join up.
Yeah, Smithy's team is going to be on the other side of the bracket going to the finals, but you're going to have to wait through one more matchup to get there, because we're going to have to go to the third place match after a short break, of course, and we're going to be back, I'm sure, with a lot of action to excite for.
Yeah, so we do have that break coming up here, guys. Before that, though, we are going to take a look at the results from the match. As, if you weren't watching the first one, maybe you want to get a little refresher on who was on which team. The first match, 3-0, win there by Smithy, Bonus, and Ramel, able to come in. And then on the right side, of course, Eleutherial's team as a whole, able to come together and pick up the win.
Yeah, it should be very interesting because we do have a very melee-focused matchup on the Balenos side with two Paladins really focusing around the Raven to do damage, and Eleutherial has been off the hook in terms of how he's performed so far in today's matches. But at the same time, a very range meta on the other side of Smithy's team, and there's going to be a reason why we should focus on how much of the attention can the melee characters get in terms of grabbing all the right positions to make all the differences in the world. We're going to have to wait to the finals to get that done.
Yeah, we are going to have that finals, though. Before that, we are going to have a break and then the third place match that will be coming up next. So if you guys want the coupon code, make sure to be looking out for that in between the breaks, as we always do have it there. And we will see you after 10 minutes for that third place match. Welcome back, guys. We are here on the desk casting some of that Ramoness Championship you guys are watching. And so far, it's been pretty weird, back and forth, confusing strategies, some AFK strats, some one-sided games to start us off. But now that we've kind of separated the finalists and the third and fourth placers, perhaps the games will be a bit closer. I would expect so, at least.
I don't want to say the word close anymore because it can mean so many things in the world, and it wasn't anything but bad for the last 2 days. But I wish for it to be somewhat interactive. If one team is doing something, I wish the other team can respond to it and do something with it in a reactive way. I wish something like that could happen because we've seen that in America, but ever since starting from Asia to the couple of matches we had today, one team brought in a plan, the other team brought in a plan, and if one team plan succeeded, they just kept doing it. But the other team plan, when it doesn't succeed, they still keep doing it. So I hope that it's a little bit reactive in terms of if something doesn't seem to be working out, maybe they can shift up to something they prepared on the other hand.
Yeah, perhaps we will get to see that here as the games are a little bit closer, but we're going to take a look at the matchups that we do have left for you guys. The first one will be the third place match. The finals will be a little bit after this one. Of course, this will also be a best of 5, with the finals being a best of 7. But will be Pulse Fire's team up against Bullock's team, Odima up there, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't really have a feeling as to who might come ahead in this one. Perhaps Pulse Fire's team, because they actually attacked and went head to head. As we do see them sitting here in the lobby, ready to go. Everybody's ready, and so are we, Joel. Well, first we're gonna come back to us, as we're not quite ready to hop straight into the game.
We saw that they were ready.
Yeah, everybody's ready.
Everybody was ready, but someone is not ready. And I think we can just talk a little bit more to make sure that, hey, maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'm not ready for all this excitement to go in to see exactly what's going to be. I think we're actually ready, though, to get into the game, Valdez.
Oh, so you're ready? Okay.
I am ready.
Now that we got the green light from Joel, we can go into the game. So, guys, let's go into game number 1 of the third place match. Off we go back into the game as, you know what, I feel like I've seen this before. Electra, he's the guy that runs around and everybody else
there. Bullock's there in the Bullock spot.
Yeah, and Dima's in the Dima spot.
Hey, let me tell you one thing. If we have future Ramoness tournaments in the later parts of what we know as Black Desert MOBA, that spot will be called the Bullock spot, and that spot will be called the Dima spot. We'll keep that in mind.
I think that's that should go down in history as, if more tournaments come in, these will be the guys that started here in the first time. And, well, I mean, Dima's going to get away. And you'll notice that there's not as many kills coming in.
Well, just as you say that, Pulsefire does get the kill.
Okay. Maybe I was trying to make the kills happen by saying there weren't kills happening.
You're just putting the aggro in. That's all you're doing.
Yeah.
But now Electro's actually doing some fighting, which is really good to see. Let's be a little more proactive to get something other than the relics. I know that PK isn't all in all what you're supposed to do in Ramoness. It's not the only thing you can do. You can collect the relics to get a little bit of points here and there. MLBB just standing there all by himself doing nothing. Maybe we get away.
Yeah. He is going to get away. Yeah, I mean, that's the point of Ramoness. You take the objectives, but you also get a bunch of points from getting kills. So it's supposed to be like a balanced strategy. Or, because the kills get you more points, you can group up as 3 and try to isolate and pick off more members. And we've seen that kind of strategy a lot more than this kind, where you're kind of just sitting in the brush.
It's sort of like, you go to McDonald's, right? And typically you order a burger with french fries.
True.
But Dima's team, they only want the french fries.
Yeah,
they don't seem to really want the burger to begin with. They walk into McDonald's and they're not going to go for the Big Mac. They're going to go for the large fries instead.
They're kind of the vegetarians of the Ramoness Championship. They, they'll go for the potatoes, but anything else, perhaps not a big fan. But speaking about the game here, we do see Bullock go down. But again, this is the kind of game where you can take Lagos and absolutely come back in the points. As you see, Dima is getting to work in here. Electra going to join up with him. and the blue team not really coming together to try to push them off of this objective at all.
Yeah, and this is going to be a situation where all three are situating here, and this is going to be a situation where the blue team needs to surround them to make sure they can get some easy PKs
But
off
instead,
the other side.
okay, this is going to be last hit there by a member of the blue side. Didn't quite see who that was.
I think it was
Perhaps
MLBB.
MLBB, as he does have the lightning, and yeah, it's going to be big for them to try to secure this first win up against the red team here. As a couple of kills, you can see MLBB is getting to about half health, but Pulsefire able to help out against the enemy.
Yeah, I would really understand where they're coming from Dima's side, where they go for the relics and go for the little bit of points because they don't believe in themselves to get the PKs against something like Civilian's team from Belenos. Because the sheer amount of CP is there. They are the #1 CP team in the European semifinals. I understand that. But this same strategy should not go up against MLB's side. They are not the highest in CP, and they are pretty favorable in terms of what they can actually do combat per combat. So while they do lose this first game, I think they should very much realize that a fight can be possible and a PK should be there to really try to go for really an effortless effort in trying to win these games rather than just hiding in the bush.
Yeah, I would also like to see a little bit more action. Just as a viewer myself, I'd like to see them fighting and see what they can do, because from the little we have seen, it doesn't look like they're not, not that they're not good at fighting.
No, they're not weak at all.
They're not weak. They have the CP to do it as well, at least against this team, as you were highlighting. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see them fight, but let's see what they do here as we head into game number 2. Yeah, just going to go back into the Ramoness.
I'm really interested. I'm really interested to see if the plans do change.
Pulsefire knows the brush now.
Hey, but you know what it is, though? Electra, Dima, and Bolik, they're actually out of the bush, and they're looking to fight. This is an interesting start to what I think should really provide for a very much more entertaining matchup.
You think so?
I would think so. I would
don't
really
know.
think so, but Electra's still surviving here.
Yeah, Electra is surviving. But
for now,
everybody else is...
Dima's hitting the wall and getting the application,
he's
of
gonna
course.
get that. As Electra, he's surviving for quite a while, actually.
And this is an opportunity with the amplification to try to go for the PK, and he does get it with the MLBB. Very, very nice. And these are situations where you do need to really flourish. If you get the lightning, go for the kills. If you get the salvation, make sure your other teammates go for the kills and try to get them for the backup. You can get the relics. That can be a main objective. That's fine. I understand that. But to do something with it, it should be the second step that they're not really doing at the moment for the red side, and they really need more of that in the second game.
Yeah, Pulsefire just chasing after Bullock here. It's all about the chase for the blue team. That's all they really have an interest in doing, as they're going to get the stun down, and that should be enough to actually take him out here with some combos, as he will bite the dust. But definitely a much closer game compared to game number 1, so perhaps a situation where the strategy can actually work out.
Yeah, what's happening right now is a little bit of a shift from what we've seen in the other games for the red squad. All they're doing is raiding for the relics for 2 players only this time around, with 1 player, Bullock, just running around the bush just to make sure they can get that kind of cat and mouse chase going on to kill some time, so that the little bit of points that they do take away, eventually dying off to the 3 men chasing after them, it's not going to be that much in comparison. So this is a good strategy where it might work out, but still the Lagos becomes an importance for how they're going to actually win the games. It's going to be of importance.
That's a big kill on Tadima. I think he was at the highest in terms of points. Now they're all frozen. They could potentially wipe them out here. A nice amount of damage is being done to Lagos early on, but a couple of kills now to the blue team going their way. You'll notice they don't really have an interest in hitting Lagos at all. They're just still on the chase here, trying to cut off Electra on the right side. They get that stun really nicely predicted there.
Good positioning from Pulsefire right there, just to get that a little bit of wake away in terms of the exit, and it does get the last bit of damage to get the kill itself. All in all, 32-65 means it's not impossible to win this game, but that last hit that we saw from Dima in the game 1 of the semifinals definitely has to come back again, with Zekken looking very dangerous at the moment.
Who's going to get the last hit here? It is going to go to Pulsefire. He picks it up, gets a couple of kills immediately.
That's it.
And that is going to be it for game number 2. And yeah, just seems like it's pretty easy here for the side of Pulsefire and his team. Not really having any trouble. Pulsefire is a bit low, and he does have a lot of points, but...
Just going to hide in here, just going to wait for the timer to run out. 7 seconds should be good enough skill, but I'm really happy to see Pulsefire actually performing this time around the 3rd place match where he couldn't in the semifinals to win his matchups, and it's good to see him, a star performer like him, performing to his extent once again. It's very nice to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like even though the beginning of Game 2 is a bit shaky, some of the pickoffs that they had once the Lagos spawned and things got a little bit more hectic, definitely it looked a bit more solid as, you know, again, the teams are just going to download you and your strategy and say, oh, I know exactly what you're doing. You're going to go around in circles, and once you hit this point, I'm going to land my, you know, my stun, and it's going to knock you down. So definitely, it looks like we're all ready to jump into game number 3. So let's see how that is going to go down. Everybody scatter. Find the nearest bush.
You figured him out, Valdez. You know the strategy.
I know the strategy.
Well, I mean, we're looking at this now, and Electra, he's found, because it's the same spot that he's been in for 3 games in a row now. Probably 6 games in a row now, all the way through from semifinals, and now they kind of understand how to play against it. It's like almost, I would have to say, a planned AoE kind of monster. Just a PvE aspect, if you will. Just understanding the pattern of how your enemy is going to move and knowing how to work around it is what the blue team has been doing. In this game 3, completely figured out.
Yeah, I mean, they know every bush. And it's not like they're even changing up the bushes either.
No,
Dima was in the same one.
Bush. They're in the Dima bush.
Yeah.
Dima's in the Dima bush, and also Bullock in his Bullock bush. Makes a lot of sense.
Bullock's in a little bit different of a bush.
Oh,
Maybe that's because he predicted the orb was coming up there, and he was getting ready to take it down. But either way, he's actually trying to fight here against MLBB. Bit of a change-up.
Okay,
finally.
Look at Pulsefire going down very little.
Yeah. I mean, it shows that they can fight. If they group up as 3, they are going to pick up kills just like they did there.
That's why it is so frustrating as to why they can't just group up and gather up to get those kills, because they do have enough damage to do so, and all they need to do is just to call out the plays, communicate, and to try to go for the right decisive plays when they come through and see one opponent at a time. See, Pulsefire is so low with 21 points in his bag. That can be gathered and taken so many away from them, but really to separate all the way through. Not much teamwork shown from Bullock's side, which has been a disappointment all day long.
Okay, but still a close game here, but a couple of objectives going towards blue. The Lagos already taking a hefty amount of damage here, 5 health bars down with more to go. As walls are being destroyed here, I suppose that'll help find the members that are in the brushes, but they gotta come out of their hiding holes at some point to take some hits on this objective.
Well, here it is. Lagos are nothing once again, down to 10 HP, and that's going to be enough for this. A little bit over the minute bar, and who's going to get it here? The bar is really helping us not to go for this.
Yeah, Bullock and Electra are able to get it. Electra.
Oh, it's a big lightning.
Yeah, is able to pick that one up and is on the chase here for Zekken. Not quite able to pick up the kill yet. Still on the chase back there. Will be able to do that.
Oh, Electra, he can't lose those points, and he does survive.
Yeah, and he's actually able to pick up the kill. So extremely low here is their top points. Still 40 seconds to go. We've seen a comeback from here before. Question is, can they pull it off? MLBB has to get away.
Electra has to be very, very, very careful. He's so low, and if he dies right here, oh, good salvation coming through.
Yeah, and the salvation will be enough to keep them all alive. Just happy, healthy, and wise, as finally their strategy is paying off as they picked up the Lagos. But okay, we have their own salvation going the way of the blue team. They're trying to chase them down.
They need to get Electra.
They're going for him, but he's just dipping and dodging. on that Huntress.
Good movements.
Yeah, and it looks like he is going to be able to survive, so we will actually not have the 3-0 happen as the strategy works for once.
Hey, I hope they really realize on that instance where they after got the allow that they had a fair 3-3 fight, and they were actually winning in terms of damage. I really wish that the red team can realize from that instance that they can actually fight a little more consistently from the early game, not they have to rely on Lagos to actually get their victories. They can actually PK their way through in terms of getting the victories, and they're definitely able to do that. So I hope that little moment that they saw with the damage really connecting through kind of helps them realize and maybe shift towards a more battle offensive style in terms of going for this game for to bring this series back to even.
Yeah, I mean, it did look good, but we'll see if they actually do commit to that because it's been all the same strategy all of the games. But we do have game number 4 ready to go. Let's hop into it now. Fight is going to be the call. Will we have players answer the call? Is another question. Electra finding an angle, actually, looking to take some pot shots.
Going for the statue just a little bit, but now needs to help up Bolika just a little bit. He's been kind of fought 3v1 there, and Dima's in his Dima spot. It does get away a little bit, but really that realization from the third game might not have been enough to gain that confidence to go for the combat every single time. Still going for the artifacts, that's fine, but what else are you going to do with it is the question.
Yeah, he picks up the amplification and actually is able to heal up quite a lot with the salvation, and if they are able to pair a couple of buffs together in that manner, it does look like that is one of the few times where they will actually come out of the brush and attempt to do a bit of chip damage to the enemy team. They don't go for any big-time kills. They're just trying to keep the gap not too far.
Yeah, this is looking a lot better with 2 players traveling together. Is much better, and especially with this lightning coming through, they better get some big points right here because this is where it's needed.
Yeah, perhaps we might even see our first best of 5 go to a game 5 here. Could happen in the European region, but Electra is going to be focused down here.
OBB's. He had to survive there to get that kill, and that was very, very nice. But all the way through, it's just not enough confidence from the side of Dima and Electra. And especially if one player gets into a fight, if he gets caught out, the other players need to rush in there to provide the reinforcement because they do have enough damage to go for that fight right there and try to come back for their team. But all in all, that confidence is a little bit lacking altogether, and that's why it's the reason at the moment that we see the red side struggle as we are at the moment.
Sure, and it is once again going to be a big lead here at the 1.5-minute mark for the team that is not hiding in the bush. They're chasing him down, finding kills. Second gonna earn his top spot there with another kill onto Dima. The freeze comes in, and the Lagos is being chipped away, but it's not nearly as close here in this game number 4 as we have seen before.
Yeah, good protection of Lagos right now from the blue side. Still with 11 bars, is able to get these kills one after the other. And Zekin, although he's a little bit low with the top score line that he does have, still going to be in the safety zone with other 2 members still being able to reinforce to him. And it's going to be basically an impossible situation for this to come back unless the Lagos steal has to come through. But the kills are coming back and forth here with so little points. Can they do it?
Yeah, Electra is going to give it his all here. He's the one guy who's actually in position trying to get that damage down, and no, it is just going to be the kill going the way of the blue team here, as it was Pulsefire picking up the last hit, and the rest of the members on the red side are just going to go down. As just doing circles in front of the base, even saying, yeah, we are the victors of the 3rd and 4th place match that will go the way of Pulsefire. To be honest, kind of what we were expecting. And just bringing up the points there, they will be able to secure that victory. So GG, congratulations to them as they do pick up the victory.
Yeah, Pulsefire's team has been very consistent starting from the round of 64, only losing 1 game throughout the entire journey to get to the semifinals. So they have been a very successful team. So for them to lose in the semifinals 3-0 was a big surprise in and all, but to come back with a little bit of retaliation to say that we are a very successful team, to be that 3rd place team for Europe is a good statement to end off with.
Yeah, Absolutely. So good stuff there. They do get the win in the 3-1. We were thinking actually, at the end of that match that perhaps we would go to a Game 5.
Yeah.
But was not meant to be. So your third place will be the Pulsefire team. And now, guys, we only have one matchup to go. It is going to be the finals that will come back after a 10-minute break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We are here and ready to go into the finals of the European region for the Ramoness Championship. It is me, Valdez, Vigil, Sophie, and of course, this one. We have had a lot of one-sided matches today and strange strategies, but I think this one should just be a straight-up even match between these two teams.
It's really easy to say that because it's such a well-balanced combat style in terms of the full-on range coming from Smitty's side, and on the other side of the Balenos team, they are very much focused on the melee with 2 paladins and with a sorceress becoming a Raven, of course. They're just trying to help out in terms of how we're going to approach this. And it really is an important asset to really understand exactly what the plan is for both teams, because you usually would think that double Huntresses means that you have to go for the Huntresses to actually get the kills, but really we've seen yesterday actually going for the setup player, being the Paladin, to get them out early in the game. That can be a huge strategy to go with here.
Yeah, I just remember Morty's dying like 8 times in a row.
Yesterday, yes.
It was not the most fun for him, as either way, we do have the finals matchup here on the screen. As you can see, Smithy's team heading that one over on the left side. Civilian, Eletherial, Thrax High on the right side. Going to be coming on in here, and again, this is what we are expecting. We thought this was going to be a really, we thought these should be the teams that do make it into the finals, and we are expecting a pretty close match. As you mentioned it, the comps here, the double Huntress and Paladin up against the double Paladin and Raven. So guys, it looks like we're ready to hop straight into the game this time. Let's jump into game 1 of the finals. And off we do go, straight into the Ramoness. Just gonna power up here and go straight for the fights. That's what I like to see in the Ramoness.
Yeah, this is a good strategy that I was just mentioning. Go for the Paladin first if you are from the Balenos side, and now you can sneak back up to Smitty to get that sneaky kill, because the moment Paladin loses his intended position, that's when the Huntresses really lose their ground as to where they exactly should be, and that's a good plan to start off. They have a full understanding of how to go up against this comp, and Civilian and the rest of the boys are really doing well right now.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Thraxhigh, though, in the front, going to take a massive amount of damage. Some freezing going to come down here, but actually goes the other way right away, as Bonu's in a bit of trouble, is going to have to hop, skip, and jump his way to the safety. But you can see the chase down over
really
here is going to get
targeting
them. But yeah, they're going to trade kills here.
Yeah, all the way through, it's really important that Thraxhigh is the one to die. He's the one that had the least amount of points to start this game off. And Murmiao is going to be the one right now to hold the ground. But as like I said earlier, if he starts to lose his positioning of not really being able to control his intended ground, that's the moment where his 2 Huntresses fall into a lot of danger. Good stuff coming from Murmiao. That's going to be the plays that he's looking for this entire time.
Yeah, Murmiao and Smithy, a couple of them 2 in a row, able to pick up kills, followed by another one here. But Murmiao is going to pick this one up. 24 kills now on top, and this is what we were talking about. Can go either way, and they have already shown this, the 2 teams, early on in game 1.
Yeah, Murmiao just really coming up on top once again is exactly what you don't want to see if you're on the red side, knowing that the Paladin has to be shut down early for the other 2 Huntresses not to thrive. And that's the situation that we're in right now. Murmiao with the top points at the moment with 30. This is a controlling situation where they weren't in the first few seconds of the game, but now they're back at it in this mid-game. This is really a steamroller against the #1 CP team. Really having a difficulty going up against these double Huntresses.
Yeah, the lightning comes in and just dominates Thraxhigh, and they're even just chilling in the base. They're taking them out one by one, but coming back here with everybody at full health, you can see now the strategy is to turn onto the Lagos. This is what we were talking about, you know, start off with fighting, then turn your attention onto some objectives if it's, you know, if you can catch them along the way, or if it's not working out, a straight up fight. They are going to attempt to last hit this Lagos.
And look at the Eletherial. He's been good, very good all day long in terms of getting the last hit onto Lagos, and you would expect him to be the difference maker in terms of getting that, but
Oh boy. Well, that's going to be the nail in the coffin that we've seen so many times. The team that gets ahead is, of course, going to have a better chance of taking down the Lagos.
73 points, all to Murmiao.
He's had a fun game number 1 here, able to heal up a bit. And he's not even sitting in a brush or hiding or anything like that. He is going to now try to run away as he was spotted, but...
Yeah, really the MVP that was needed for the blue team to win this game number 1. As long as he doesn't die out, it should be fine. And this is exactly what you need this Paladin to do, to be in full control for the other 2 hunters to really back him up with a lot of damage from the backside. But the reason why Murmiao is in control of the game is because there's not enough focus from the red side to go for this one single Paladin. And that's what you really need. If you want to regain control on the other end, you have to take away the control from the one that's really setting things up.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting one. You know, I was coming into it and I was watching the red team get ahead, you know, Eletherial, and I was like, man, their CP is really helping them out, but that was not the case afterwards. It was total domination after a very, you know, quick reversal there from the blue side. So I believe that we are all ready to jump into game number 2. So guys, let's hop into that Ramoness right now. We are already into this one. Just going head-to-head right in the front.
Look at Threk's so low.
Yeah, and he's going to be sniped out early on. Make that a couple of kills, as it really does feel like the momentum has totally shifted in this one.
And really, I feel like we're back to day 1, the America region that we saw so close all the way through, and really just ignoring the CP differences altogether. Smitty's team do have pretty high of a CP, but they're not close to exactly where Eletherial, Cephalian, and Threx High are in their spectrum. So strategy-wise, Smitty's team is exactly doing what they need to do as a range-focused team, to have the focus right there on Murmiao, still back on top once again, and Smitty just picking up points every now and then is just a good sign for this blue team to thrive.
Yeah, it's just the 1-2 punch, and Banus has all the space he needs. They isolate another member, and we've seen this before from teams who get behind and just they struggle to group up once again and play and communicate and try to pick off targets. It is difficult to try to get into that situation, but has not looked good after the early game of game 1 for the red side.
Yeah, for the red side, it's really important for them to recover psychologically and just mentally of knowing that they are the stronger team that's supposed to win out if played correctly. And that's the situation where they need to find themselves in, not go for these 1v1s that you're looking at right now. This Paladin needs a lot more than just one enemy to take him out, and Murmiao knows exactly what his situation is, even against these very strong players. As long as they create a little bit of distraction for the other 200s to thrive in and put in the damage, that's just enough time for his team to find even more success, to gather points after points, to eventually find maybe a second win in this game number 2.
Yeah, Smithy extremely low here. He's going to try to bounce back. You just see the mobility that the Hunters has. Really well played, able to jump in between the brushes and escape. That is not just a normal play that anyone can pull off. So great play by Smithy, proving he is one of the big MVPs for his team.
And you know what I was saying, Smithy was one of the key players throughout the tournament, but all in all, this team has really elevated to another level in preparation for the semifinals and becoming the final day of the European finals. And this is a situation where Murmiao, standout MVP for exactly what his role should be as a Paladin, and of course Smithy and Bonus getting away the sliver of the HP is exactly what you want if you are the Hunters. And Smitty just doing so well all the way through. Even with Bonus dying, they're not worried whatsoever as long as Murmiao can find some heals to come back in this game.
Yeah, picks up another kill, picks up an orb. He's got some amplification, and he's getting to work here in the middle, trying to stop Cephalian from chopping down onto Lagos. But now Eletherial's going to put his all into here. And he's going to go the way of Cephalian. He does get that last hit. And Murmiao is trying to get away from this one.
Big chance for Murmiao to really be targeted down by the red side. It doesn't really have to be with the lightning, just a couple of hits. He's really having a hard time finding that, and that is going to die out. That's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah, and they're going to freeze them all up here. Can they get the kill onto Cephalian? 3 seconds. Can anyone get on top of him? The answer is going to be no, and it is a 1-1 at the end of that game. As, wow, okay,
What a
finally,
fine matchup.
we've got a matchup
There
here.
you go.
We
We've been
finally have
waiting
some
for
games.
this since yesterday, Valdez. We know this. And now we're here in this 1-1 scoreline that looks close as ever. That Lagos kill was crucial for Civilian, and they deservedly got that because they had the right positioning. The Smitty's team all around, they were around the fences, not really focused too much on Lagos, and lost distraction of that in a moment of that time. And that's all they needed for the red side to really just dag down on that Lagos to try to put all the damage in. Civilian getting the last hit and getting that kill onto Murmia was absolute gold, and them getting that Game 2 win.
Yeah, it's just really good stuff from both sides, honestly. I mean, Smithy's team had that for a while, and they were holding on, but just not quite able to pull it through at the end. So just a really close matchup. I mean, it's just kind of like new territory,
Very
right?
exciting. Very exciting.
Definitely some new stuff. So, guys, it looks like we do have game number 3 ready. Let's hope it's as good as the last. Oh, okay, we're back.
Double transition.
Yeah.
But you know, this game too just reminded me of what Ramoness could be. When you thought you won it all, but you just lose that lapse of error of not really focusing on Lagos. You have to protect it as the winner, not only for the opponents to take it away from you, but also to understand what the after effects will be once the opponent does take it. But both of the things were completely absent from Smitty's team in that Game 2 scenario. So doing well in the early game, the mid game, as they always do with Smitty's team, you really have to focus on the late game of understanding, even if the Lagos does get taken away, what do you do after that? That has to be in preparation.
Yeah. Really aggressive here is Eletherial leading the charge with his 2 teammates right behind him. They waited until the salvation was up and they said, okay, now's our time to shine. Now's our time to go. But Smithy does have a lot of room here, but he is going to be able to survive, it looks like. Yeah, he's still alive.
Wow, he's still alive?
How did he survive?
Smitty!
I mean, I saw the health bar go all the way down, and I'm like, he must
Oh,
be
and he
dead.
gets the heal too.
But no, he was up at the top, and he's able to kite them all down. This guy is a genius.
22 points, and that's very, very valuable 22 points. You see him on the top of the scoreboard. As long as he gets some heals, get the salvation, and hopefully on one of these relics should be very good, but Eletherial trying to get the points away from it, and he does it very nicely.
Yeah, chasing after Smithy here. Will they finally be able to take him out? It looks like the answer is yes. And that's what you expect from a close match like this. They are able to consecutively take him out. And now they can look for some of the orbs that are left on the map. Be able to put out some freezes there and try to secure more of a lead. But again, very close, 39-38.
So good on his control, and still he looks very confident even after dying out. The momentum is there for the blue team to once again take the lead in this series, but the Lagos once again has to be well protected. 1 minute and 15 seconds is more than enough for the red team to really dump it down, and that's going to be a situation where Smitty and the rest of the gang have to play this correctly to chip it down a little bit by bit, but also to protect the surroundings to make sure they have all areas protected. Very nice, Lightning.
Oh boy. The 2 of them over there were trying to just run away on low health against full health members of the enemy team, but they both get sniped out. Civilian Eletherial there.
Out of position here once again, Threx side. This is a situation where you don't want to be in. 50 seconds left to go means that the red team has to stick together, has to go for a miracle play. You can go for the PK onto Murmia if you want to, but definitely the Lagos will be a more ideal situation. They're damaging it now.
Everything's just AoE in the middle. Who's going to
Hey,
pick it up?
get it again!
Eletherial on the Paladin is somehow able to get that. And Smithy, I keep on saying somehow because these people are pulling off some insane plays.
Oh my goodness, the Lagos kill will be the miracle maker once again. You don't think that the #1 CB team will be relying this heavily on Lagos kills to get these victories, but they seem like with these last 10 seconds left to go, that will be the case once again because Smitty with 22 points, it's about to die out.
Yeah, looks like he is going to get sniped out there just at the last second. I thought Smithy was actually going to survive against the Lightning from the Lagos. It wasn't meant to be. As you mentioned, the Lagos kill was just enough to get them over the line, as you do pick up that Lightning buff after securing the last hit, the last kill there. So again, it is going to swing back the way of Belenos as Team Eletherial is going to pick up the win in game number 3. And remember, this is a best of 7, so really anything can happen.
Many more games to go in, and still looking towards this play that games 1 and 2 basically was decided by the Lagos kill. And they did it with pretty much a lot of decisiveness that we saw, damaging it down. They picked the timing to go for it. It was a little bit later in game 2, but all the way through it, it was all that was needed in this game 3 to get that second victory. And now they're going to this game 4 with probably a better timing of understanding how to take better control of the early action. And we'll see if the Belenos team can do that.
Yeah, and definitely should expect another really fun game. I loved that AoE around the Lagos. It really could have gone either way from there, but now we're going to see what can happen as we jump into game number 4. And in we do go. You can see they're going to power up with the Black Spirit right before they get straight into the fight. This is the kind of Ramoness I signed up for, Joel.
Yeah, it's just a very exciting matchup that we saw in this game, first 3 games, but a little bit of a disappointment for how well individually all these blue players have been playing, but to the disappointment of that late game struggle is the reason why the red team is currently ahead in this series. You can see that Sefilian's trying to run away. Smitty now going a little bit greedy. This is not the plays that he should be making.
Yeah, you know, he's definitely a confident player, and that's what allows him to pull off some of the crazy plays that he has already. But you got to be careful. You don't want to get caught out there by the enemy team. I have to say, some good coordination so far from Team Belenos, I suppose we can call them, from here, as it is server against server at this point. As a bit of fighting here in the corner. Banu's getting some help from
Should be able to get that.
Ooh, able to land some nice damage in there. Smithy trying to help out as well, but ooh. Looks like Sefilian able to pick up the kill.
Something a little bit I'm worried about in this game number 4 specifically is that you see the separation coming from the players individually from the blue side. It's something that we haven't seen from the good early action movement that we saw from the first 3 games. Even though they lost games 2 and 3, their early game and to mid game was theirs to win. Now, game 4, they're switching it up a little bit by separating the members, but they do need to stick together because once they get caught out one by one, they're not going to win in an even combat. They know that to be the fact, and that's the reason why they chose the strategy that they did for the first 3 games and had a lot of success with it. Really never was the problem with the early game. It was about the late game that they really passed away in the games 2 and 3, and they should really have a lot more confidence in how they strategize for so far. Just to reinforce the end game is what they need.
Yeah, Thraxai, oh boy, that salvation coming together there right at the end, but grouping up for a bit of AoE as they're going to get knocked down in the back. Man, the damage coming out from the double Huntress is pretty massive, but Thraxai able to get away for just a moment as Lagos is going to pick up a kill.
Now, this is a good situation for them to go for the Lagos while everybody's pretty much out of the question. 1 minute left to go, 18 bars of course, but this is a scenario where you're not so confident and you don't have the right position as you did from the red side to get the Lagos in this game number 4. Not going to be as easy this time around to really rely on this to get the victory. That means the PKs now have to come from the blue side to get as many points as they can in this interaction.
Oh, looks like grouping up once again in the middle. Oh, Ethereal is just really getting his hands dirty.
Oh, the AoE damage.
But perhaps not enough.
Oh!
But see, Muriao is able to last hit that one. Lightning is going to come in. And from here, with only 30 seconds left, you would expect this to move on to 2-2 in the series.
Crucial play by the Paladin once again, but Murmia does need to survive. He is a golden goblin in a socket. 66 points. The moment he loses that is game over. And you're going to have to give Murmia all the mobility movement you have in the world just to get from the high damage that will come from. But he gets caught!
Can they get it? Can
oh
they
no, he gets it!
They got it!
5 seconds left to go!
At the last second, they're 6 points ahead.
Oh!
And there was even a kill there at the end.
But it's still 2 points behind.
2 points is going to be the
Oh
difference.
my.
They catch him. They actually landed that ability as he was on the run. That's impressive stuff from Ethereal, from Belenos.
But at the same time, it was a little bit disappointing that Murmia was all by himself with no reinforcement whatsoever from the blue teammates that he saw. Smithy and Bonus was nowhere to be seen around exactly where Murmia was using every mobility skill that he had to survive for those last 5 seconds. But that last bit of death coming through, giving away that so many points that he had all to himself, You knew that was going to be a situation that you had to prevent, and they just couldn't relapse on those last few seconds. That's the reason why they've been losing these last 3 games. It's just that last bit of few seconds that they couldn't hold their focus on.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough. This is a fast game, Ramoness. You got to be dashing in and out, and just a split-second decision can mean the difference between a win and a loss. Even picking up that kill right at the end, I mean, they could have turned it at the last second. So, crazy stuff so far in this final. Let's see more of it as we hop into Game 5. Back into the action. As well, okay. We are back into the action. Civilian gonna get knocked down here. Looks like he might be the first casualty.
This
of
is
Game
not
5.
the position you want to be in if you're the blue side. Clumped up in the middle, exactly where the melee characters of Eleutherio, Civilian, and Rek'Sai want you to be, to put in all that damage all at once. Now to get away from that, Smitty, he has
this guy is
footwork.
insane.
He is incredible with his footwork. Let me tell you, he knows the ins and outs of exactly how to run with the Ranger, and he does it so well with the Huntress.
I think this guy is definitely the best Huntress we've seen. I mean, it's not just about dealing damage on a stunned target. It's about, you know, being able to weave in and out and still do the damage. Some pretty impressive stuff here. As yeah, I mean, they're just going at it once again. Banu's getting low.
Hey, you know what it is? I think Smitty's mad. I think he's now turning on the superpower now and just really putting the focus on where it is. He's at the precise pinpoint position of where he needs to be every time, and you know his fancy footwork is going to work so well to escape from dangerous situation. Now Smitty coming from the overlaps. This is going to be a good situation for them to continue on and get these points. This needs to be the confidence they need to resolve and to retain until the end of the game here.
Yeah, you got to be careful just grouping up there in a line, essentially, against double Huntress. They take out Mermeow, though, and an extra orb. Smithy is chasing down Thraxai. Can't quite get the kill just yet, but he should be able to eventually.
Thraxai not going down.
Yeah, I mean, Thraxai just doesn't die. Finally is going to go down. That Paladin having a bit of fun herself.
And you know what it is, though? Smitty is having the game of his tournament so far. These last few games have been so good. Now he's about to get away from another one.
Oh, can he survive?
Oh,
this
he
would be
did
the
it
ultimate
once again.
survival.
Smitty, you are
insane.
an God Huntress. That's what you are.
How is he not dead? It's like the same situation 2 games in a row.
We know Smitty has been well praised for his game mechanics and understanding of the ins and outs of this Huntress for as long as this game has existed for Black Desert Mobile, and he's been highly praised for that. And now it is time to showcase all his skills, and what a fashion to do so right now. He's been incredibly outstanding.
Yeah, and he's going to survive slowly but surely. He's going to be able to life steal up a bit. You can see he's kind of on the outskirts taking pot shots. He's not fully committing, and that's enabling him to come back in. The Lagos.
Too close.
Who's it going to go to? It's going to go to Eleutherio. He picks it up again as Smitty's going to go down. Banuz will also bite the dust. Now they're up onto Mermeow, who is able to heal a little bit with the orb, it looks like. He's on the run. He's going to heal again. And that's actually nice to extend the game at least. We got 30 seconds. Let's see if they can somehow come back, but now it's 2-on-3 for a bit.
I would have to say that was a crucial mistake by Smitty. He knew how little HP that he had and got too close to Thraxai to get caught off there, and he knew that's not the position that he needed to be in. I know that Lagos was getting low. I know that he needed every single bit of damage to try to increase that chance, but increasing that chance doesn't matter if you're the one to die with so many points holding onto the bag.
Yeah, we got 5 seconds left, and Eleutherio is just going to run away with the money, with the pearls, and with the title. Him and his team winning in the 4-1. But again, that score doesn't really tell the whole story of the way that final win. Finally, we got a really close matchup between 2 obviously really good teams that shows the potential of Ramoness. Definitely a fun way to end things off, Joel.
Very, very exciting matchup, and as you already mentioned, that 4-1 is no way an indicator of exactly how close that matchup was. And altogether, I still put my hats out to Smitty and the rest of the boys for doing so well.
So good.
For a majority of all of those games that they lost, they looked like almost a better team. But the late game focus is where they really fell off, and that's where the red team of Balenos for Eleutherio, Civilian, and Thraxai to keep so much of their focus to keep so steady and to get their what was needed in the late game to get those victories that they did 4 times, and that was just enough.
Yeah, it was really close. Got to hand it to Eleftherial and his team as well for staying calm throughout that, because it must have been tilting how many times Smithy was able to get away and just survive just barely multiple times, but they were able to hold strong and pull through. They are the champions of Europe.
Well,
we're here in
Korea.
We
would love for them to be here in Korea and to play some Ramoness with us. That would be nice, Valdez.
Yeah, not the champions of Korea yet, but definitely the big-time champions of Europe. So congratulations to them. They do pick up the win. And so again, just to reiterate, 20,000 pearls to everybody on that team. They also pick up the Ramoness champion title and, of course, the limited edition.
That's going to be very nice bounty rewards for what they've experienced. I think the experience in itself is going to be rewarding for all these players, not just for the champions, but for every participant from Europe, Asia, and America who did participate in our first rendition of the Ramoness tournament. It's been a little bit shaky as to, everything that comes with the first time. There's a lot of preparation in Gubs for it, and there's a lot of try and error, of course. But all the players, I was operating with them, and everybody here in the studio, they know that we've gone through so many matches starting from around the 64, but everyone has been so cooperative in terms of trying to make this a good tournament, and we are so thankful for all the participants from America, from Europe, and from Asia. Everyone, you guys know who you're talking about. Very, very thankful. So we want to thank you once again for such a great tournament. We couldn't have done it without you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great 3 days in a row of the Ramoness Championship. So happy to be here and to cast in front of you guys. Of course, hopefully we get some more Black Desert Mobile tournaments in the future. And just a couple things to mention. Pretty fun day overall for Europe. I think the strategy that we saw earlier, though, the kind of like AFK in the brush strat, maybe you want to, table that one for another day. The finals were great. I think it makes up for everything else. And other than that, make sure to pick up your coupons, guys, on the way out. Of course, we've been putting that coupon code in during the breaks, and I believe we're going to put it out at the end. So anything else you want to say, Joel?
I think I just want to say thank you to everyone in the crew. Thank you, Valdez, for joining me here today. But all in all, this Ramoness tournament, I think, was a huge success. A lot of people had fun, and that's what it all means in the end. Everyone having fun with a lot of prizes to give away. Hope we get another one. And I think everyone who will be listening to really think about a potential Ramoness tournament in the future, I hope it comes to.
Yeah, myself included. So for us here at the Black Desert Mobile Championship, thank you once again for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time for more fun. See you later.